Welcome to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette, with your host Steve Garrett, MC and DJ at one of the largest Corvette weekends in the country, Corvette Fun Fest, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 40 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say Alexa or Hey Google, play the podcast called Corvette Today, and you're connected. Also, visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteTodayPodcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you visit the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also sign up for Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at corvettetoday.ck.page. And don't forget, join the Corvette Today Facebook group. We have over 3,500 members, and I'd love to have you as a member as well. And don't forget about the YouTube channel now for Corvette Today. See your favorite Corvette Today podcasts now on YouTube. First, I'd like to thank our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique design styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an absurd value starting at only $19.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And now use the new promo code CT111. That's CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit aerolarri.com. That's AEROLARRI.com with the new promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. Also, midenginecorvetteforum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at midenginecorvetteforum.com. Also, a shout out to CanadianCorvetteForum.com, welcoming Corvette owners from around the world. My guest on today's show is a return guest from Corvette Today podcast number 5, believe it or not. He's a master detailer. He's the founder of Esoteric Car Car in Columbus, Ohio. Recently, he put an article and pictorial together about C8 Corvette paint protection film, tint, and ceramic coating. And with the 2023 70th anniversary editions right around the corner, plus car show season is coming up too, I wanted to get Todd Cooperider back on the show to talk about how to make your Corvette look its best and be protected at the same time. Todd, welcome back to Corvette Today.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be here. I can't believe it's on your number 5, and now you're into the hundreds. It's been awesome to see your community growing, your show growing. You and I go back a bit to our Acura days many years ago.
Right.
And we've watched each other grow. So, yeah, thanks for having me on for a second time. It's a real privilege.
It's great to have you back, buddy. First of all, Todd, let's talk about Corvette paint as it comes out of the factory.
Yep.
Over the 70 years of Corvette, how is the paint on the C8 versus like the C7 and C6 and other previous years?
Well, the C8 is a lot better than what it was on the C7. The C7, it started off a little rough. And then when they changed some of their paint technologies later on, it took them some time to get it up and running. People were thinking that you're going to switch to a new paint plan or whatever, and magically it's going to look like a show car. Well, that's not the case. It definitely takes time. But towards the end of the C7, it was a lot better. I had a C7 ZR1 that was a lot better than my C7 Z06 that I owned. And now with the C8, it's even better still. Having said that, we always have to remember that it's a mass-produced car.
Right.
There's limitations. There's a lot of hands that touch that paint by the time that it leaves the factory till it gets to the owner. But they continue to get better and better. People have to understand it is mass produced. And even when you get into the hand-built, low production number cars, they can do a lot better, but they typically need more polishing and things on those high-end custom-built cars than they do on the mass-produced ones.
Gotcha. Now, does my brand new, right out of the factory C8 need paint protection or refinement?
Well, you've got a couple different things there. Let's talk the refinement first. Any vehicle coming from the factory, and it doesn't matter what factory or what part of the world it's coming from, can be improved upon. Does it need it? No. Can you improve upon the finish? Yes, absolutely. It's no different than you go buy a brand new $10,000 85-inch OLED TV that looks amazing, but you get somebody who specializes in calibrating. They can get that last 10, 15% that the factory simply doesn't have time to do. No different when it comes to a brand new car coming from the factory. So yes, you're going to be able to make some improvements. And then when it comes to the protection side of it, and when we're saying protection, we're typically talking about paint protection film. That's kind of an insurance policy, making sure that it lasts, keeps looking good for long periods of time. So you spend $80,000, $90,000 on a new car. It's a small price to pay. That peace of mind that you get knowing that your paint is going to stay looking good for much longer.
And we're going to talk about paint protection film in segment number 2. Todd, what is texture and what is orange peel? Can you get rid of either?
Yeah, what it is, orange peel, for people that are not really for sure, orange peel, it's like if you look at the surface of an orange and it kind of looks like a lunar surface. You've got all those low spots and high spots. That's what you get in factory paint. It's going to have that waviness or those ripples and stuff in it. Now, texture, that is a lot finer graininess, very, very light pebbling that you'll see inside of the orange peel. Now, texture was a big issue in the early C7s, and we even had a process that we offered for people who wanted to get rid of texture. You can get rid of texture in the paint that brings out a tremendous amount of clarity without being too invasive. You don't want to be sanding on OEM paint. But when it comes to orange peel, can you get rid of it? Yes. Should you get rid of it? Absolutely not. And the reason I say that is because you have to remove more clear coat than is recommended over the life of the car just to get that nice flat surface. And the flatter the surface, the more brilliant the paint looks. If you go have a show car built and they're putting a lot of clear coat and they're sanding it down between layers to keep it super flat, that's one thing. But when we're talking about the small amounts of clear coat that goes on from the factory, there's just not enough material there to safely do it. You can remove it, but chances are you're going to run into problems later on down the road, clear coat failure, cracking, peeling, fading, what have you. Not to mention you run a very, very high risk of burning through the paint.
And that leads me right into our next topic here. There's a lot of talk about the procedure with which you to protect your Corvette. Give us an overview of the procedure.
Well, whether it's a new car coming in or whether it's something that's been on the road for a few years, it's all pretty much the same. If you want to go in, and particularly if you're looking to either refine the finish or correct some of the defects. Defects are going to be swirls, sanding marks, scratches, marring from hands touching it. It's going to be all similar. You're washing the car and you're doing a decontamination of the surface. And what that means, it's a chemical decontamination, which is an iron remover, gets fallout and other stuff off of the surface that's kind of embedded. And then you do what people know as claying or clay bar, or there's synthetic clay nits. There's a lot of different ways. And that is removing any of the organic deposits that might be sitting on the surface. And the goal in that is to get it down to just bare paint. And one quick note about the claying, this hurts me or pains me when I hear people talking about it. People wanting to do claying at home. Here's a big warning. If you don't take anything else from this entire podcast, never, ever, ever use a clay bar or similar on your car unless you are machine polishing it afterwards, because you are scratching the surface. But okay, important safety note aside, we get the claying done, we get all the decontamination, then we go into machine polishing. And what that is, it's micro abrasives that's really removing a very, very small amount of clear coat in the process. And when I say small amount, you might be removing 2 microns when there's a total of about 150 microns of total, very, very small amount. You refine that finish. And then once that is done, you go in with your protection, whether it's a wax or a sealant, ceramic coating, PPF, whatever. But that process is really the same regardless. The only difference is how heavy of polishing are you doing? Is it light polishing for enhancement, or are you starting with heavy compounding to get rid of deeper defects in the finish?
There's a lot of strategy to this. Also, in segment number 2, we will be talking more about full paint protection film. In segment number 3, we're going to talk about ceramic coatings. But Todd, why is PPF and ceramic coating such a great combination?
Well, the paint protection film is there to protect against impacts, rocks hitting it, debris flying up, hitting it, whatever. Ceramic coating is there to preserve long-term good looks and ease of maintenance. So you can have paint protection film just on the front end of the car and none on the rest of it. And you put ceramic coating on top of everything, on top of the film, on top of the paint. That way, everything looks good and consistent, and everything has an ease of maintenance. Stuff doesn't stick to it as much when ceramic coating is on there. So it just makes cleanup of the car much, much easier.
That's great. Todd, let's take our first break, and we'll come back and talk about PPF, paint protection film, here on Corvette Today.
The Radiator Grill Store offers protection for your C8's front radiators and side intakes. They also carry front strut tower covers to prevent rusting and pooling water, all with do-it-yourself installation. Get 10% off your total purchase with promo code CT10. See the full line of products at radiatorgrillstore.com.
Mid-American Motorworks has been the industry leader and aftermarket supplier and manufacturer of Corvette replacement parts and accessories since 1974. We have what you need for all years and generations of Corvette. Whether you need a door panel or a seat cover for your C1 Corvette, or the latest shirt, jacket, hat, or lifestyle accessory to complement your new C8, you can get it at Mid-American Motorworks. So if you're restoring, repairing, replacing, or simply researching your Corvette, Mid-American Motorworks is the place to go. Visit our website at mamotorworks.com and shop Corvettes by generation or specific year. Or call us Monday through Saturday, toll-free at 800-500-1500 and talk to one of our Corvette experts to help you get the right part or accessory. Pursue your passion with Mid-America Motorworks.
VetteFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25, and every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetteFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada, and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetteFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
And now, back to Corvette Today with your host and my husband, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for listening to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette, brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me today is Todd Cooperider, the founder of Esoteric Car Car in Columbus, Ohio. In this next segment, we're going to talk about the full protection procedure for your Corvette. Todd, tell us what's recommended procedure-wise for fully protecting your Corvette. Like washing, claying. What's the whole regime there?
Well, when you're getting it ready, and we talked about it a little bit in segment 1, but when you're getting a car ready for paint protection film or ceramic coating, it involves a deep cleaning and decontamination of the painted surface. It includes iron remover, which we call the chemical decontamination, and claying, which is the mechanical decontamination to get everything off of the surface. We want it clean, smooth as possibly can be. Then we go into paint correction, which is also known as paint polishing or buffing, and that's to refine the finish as much as possible. Then it is ready for your paint protection film, your ceramic coating, combination of both, whatever you want to do. But going in there and getting all of that refinement, getting all the cleaning done beforehand, that gets the surface in the best condition so that your paint protection film looks better, lasts longer, and so your coatings look better and last longer as well.
Yeah, you want to get that paint pristine, because once that ceramic coating goes down, if you have some flaws or marring in that paint, you're sealing that in, right?
Yep, absolutely. That's one of the big things. Not only does it help with the bond, the cleaner and smoother the paint is, but also that's where most of your looks are going to come from, is the paint correction. It's not by adding ceramic coating. Ceramic coating's the icing on top of the cake. The polishing brings out the most looks. Then you seal that in with your ceramic coating.
There you go. All right. When we talk about PPF, what does Esoteric recommend for paint protection film?
Well, there's a lot of great paint protection film manufacturers out on the market. We've been watching things for years. We're one of maybe 2 or 3 detailers in the country that even own testing equipment that allows us to read the clarity of paint protection film.
Wow.
So we can go in, very expensive piece of equipment, but we can go in and take measurements to figure out what has the most clarity, what's going to look best on the cars. The one that we've been using the last couple of years is from Expel. Most people know Expel. They're the 900-pound gorilla, so to speak, in the industry. Very good warranty, very good product, and we've been extremely happy with the kind of results that we get or we're able to provide our customers from Expel.
Very nice. How thick is paint protection film, and how long does this stuff last?
Paint protection film is approximately 8 mil thick, and that includes the film itself, any top coat that's on it, and the adhesive layer. So it's a pretty thin material. But to put it in perspective, a mil is roughly 25 microns. And with ceramic coating, you're only adding maybe 2 or 3 microns. You do the comparison to 8 mils of paint protection film, you can tell that's much, much thicker. Now, how long does it last? It depends. Most of the better films on the market have a 10-year warranty, and it's typically against yellowing and things of that nature. But paint protection film is there to be the sacrificial layer. That's its job. So the more you drive the car, the more hits the film is going to take. And over the years, those hits will start to show and they will start to build up. But if you get 3 or 4 years down the road and your film is starting to look a little bit beat up, especially if you track the car, that's the beauty. You peel it off, you put a new piece on. So the life of it is directly related to how much driving and under what kind of conditions that you're driving in.
You've done a lot of Corvettes over your period there with Esoteric. Tell us what you recommend for paint protection film. Is it like just the nose or a half bra or the front end or just full paint protection over the entire Corvette?
Well, what has become extremely popular over the past several years is the amount of people stepping up to a full wrap. All of the painted surfaces on it are done. Now, you don't have to do that. It's a much larger expense, but the least we would recommend on the Corvettes is what we call high impact. So it's your full front end, hood, fenders, bumper, mirrors, and then your high impact areas, which would be your rocker panels, the lower part of your door, like on the C8s, the blades right there by the doors, and then the area right behind the rear wheels. Those are the areas that are going to take the most abuse. So doing that is going to put you well ahead of the game. And if you want the peace of mind, just knowing everything is protected, you go with a full wrap. At the very least, that high impact area is going to save you a lot of trouble. If you do just the front end, I'll guarantee you those lower areas, the rocker areas, areas right behind the rear wheels are going to get all chewed up and look like they're sandblasted in a short period of time.
Probably, buddy. That's for sure. Talk about paint protection film patterns, because there's a lot of pre-cut patterns on the market.
Yep.
Do you recommend those? I've seen some paint protection film where you can actually see the edges, which is not good at all.
Yeah, there's also a misconception out on the market. Some people think that pattern work is somehow bad. It's like the AAA league, so to speak, compared to the big leagues. That's not the case. Now, patterns, most of the patterns are good, but most of them come not designed to wrap edges. So if you're typically looking at if a dealer's doing an install, if they're hiring somebody to do it, it's usually they're going for the lowest bidder, which means you're not getting wrapped edges on that stuff. When you don't wrap the edges, they don't look as clean. With patterns, we can go in the software, manipulate those patterns to say, okay, we want to extend these edges so we can wrap them. And that is a very, very good way to go. The other way, it's called bulk, where you're just taking a great big piece of material, you're wrapping it, you're hand trimming. Some cases like hoods, that's the best way to go, is a big bulk piece as opposed to a pattern. The nice thing about the C8s, even when they first came out, like Expel, for instance, they get a hold of cars really quick. They've got a huge team that does nothing but pattern making, and they go in, develop those patterns, and then if they see down the road there's room for improvements, they'll update the library so installers myself can go in, have all the latest information. These days, it's rare to see people doing all bulk work. And with bulk work, you have a lot of chance you're cutting on the car. And if it's not somebody with high level of skill, you end up cutting the paint underneath. So while at one time the bulk way of doing it was a real positive, now it's gone more to patterns, but customized patterns, not just straight stuff right out of the software because you can see all the visible edges.
And there's also been a lot of upgrades in paint protection film. Talk about some of the different upgrades that you can get, because I know that I've got on my C7 Corvette, I got the self-healing stuff, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah, the technologies over the last 5 and 10 years, it is just night and day difference. A lot of times when people think paint protection film, first of all, they still refer to it as Clear Bra, which was a brand name under 3M. And they think of those partial hoods, where it was only like 18 inches. Within a year, it's super cloudy. It looks horrible. There's all kinds of orange peel in it. You don't really have that anymore. The clarity has gotten much better. We've got the self-healing, or let's call it a semi-self-healing top coat on them. The adhesives are much better, much less chance of any kind of yellowing going on. But with that self-healing aspect, it's not going to self-heal from a rock chip. But if you rub up against it, something happens, you get a small scuff or some light swirls. Those are heat activated. So either in the sun or with hot water or with a heat gun, those things will just completely disappear. Bigger scratches, no. Rock chips, no. But all that light stuff is going to come out once heat gets to it. And it makes a big difference in keeping that stuff looking good for a long period of time.
And now they've also got matte finish and satin finish in paint protection film as well, right?
Yeah, so we do a lot of that. People want to change up the looks of their car. So if you have a black car, and if you take that and change the whole thing to satin, that gives it just this really cool stealth Batmobile kind of look about it. And then what you do is some of the other areas, like the carbon flash areas, or if you have carbon fiber, you put clear paint protection film over top of that, so you have some really cool contrast. We've had people that want a satin roof or a satin hood, so you can mix things up however you want. And there's colors too. If you want a blacked out roof, you can get black paint protection film that looks like paint, because if you've ever seen a vinyl wrap on top of the car, it looks bad. There's no clarity. There's so much texture and orange peel and stuff in it. But if you put black paint protection film on, it looks like a painted panel. Much, much better. So yeah, you can get creative. It's not just about the protection. You can change up the looks of the car too.
That's so cool. I love that. Well, buddy, let's take our final break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about ceramic coatings, which will be a hot topic as well here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Yogi Berra once said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up there. At True Wealth & Company, we take that to heart. See, at True Wealth & Company, we believe your retirement lifestyle travels through 2 doors. Door number 1, the blue door, gives you more options, financial freedom. Your money outlives you. Every happiness you wish for in life is through the blue door. Door number 2, the red door, is where you outlive your money. You rely on family, friends, or even the state to take care of you. At True Wealth & Company, we're not just financial planners. The best way to walk through the blue door is to have a written plan. Make a work-optional lifestyle a reality with our proprietary True Life Map formula. Look towards your future with anticipation, not apprehension. Having a rock-solid fiduciary partner like True Wealth & Company is essential to effective financial planning. There's no winging it. There's nothing left to chance. Look, we don't want you to become another Yogi Berra-ism. Give us a call today at 913-653-TRUE. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Start your financial independence and work-optional lifestyle today.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
American Hydrocarbon is your one-stop shop for custom interior, exterior, and engine bay items for your C4 through C8 Corvette. We can help you create a custom look for your Corvette with carbon fiber or 10 different color patterns and styles. Whether it's a custom-made engine cover for your new C8 mid-engine Corvette or custom-made C4 interior upgrades, American Hydrocarbon can help you transform your Corvette into a best-in-class show car. And now we're proud to announce that we can produce and distribute officially licensed GM products for the C8 Corvette. That includes the front splitter, side skirts, engine appearance panels, and engine fluid caps. Plus, we now also carry the C8 Speedline side skirts along with the engine appearance package and high wing. Our products have been featured in Vette and Corvette magazines. Give us a call, 813-476-5638. Visit our updated website at AmericanHydrocarbon.com or email us at pat@AmericanHydrocarbon.com. Let us help you make your Corvette the car you've always wanted it to be. American Hydrocarbon.
Stretch the life of your Corvette's paint with Nova Stretch, the performance protective cover. From bugs to rock chips, Nova Stretch covers protect your C5 through C8 Corvette, utilizing stretch fabric technology and an innovative fastening system for quick installation and easy removal and storage. Made in the USA for a tailored fit, the patented design and breathable mesh protects your Corvette without rubbing or chafing the paint like traditional covers. And unlike clear film or old-time car bras, Nova Stretch provides full front-end coverage including the grille, keeping radiators and heat exchangers clean and debris-free. Visit novastretch.com and use the code CORVETTE-TODAY15 to get 15% off your order. Protect your Corvette with Nova Stretch.
You're listening to the Corvette Today podcast with Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks once again for tuning in to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Todd Cooperider, the founder of Esoteric Car Car in Columbus, Ohio. In this final segment, we're going to talk about ceramic coatings. First off, Todd, explain exactly what ceramic coating actually is and what it does for your Corvette.
Well, I would love to. Ceramic coatings, they are one of the most misunderstood, misrepresented products in the detailing world. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad information out there, particularly from a lot of the manufacturers, and having people believe that they're scratch proof and they're so hard that bullets will bounce off of it, set fires on it, everything else. Well, here's the reality. And where do I get my information? Well, I've been working with ceramic coatings for over a decade, working with manufacturers on product development and testing things in the real world for a long, long time. So having said that, ceramic coatings provide two benefits for the customer. One, long-term good looks. You know how you wax your car, it looks fantastic, but after the first rain or wash, it already doesn't look as good. With a ceramic coating, that's going to continue that beautiful shine and looks for several years. It's a very gradual drop-off in looks, so your car always has that freshly waxed or freshly sealed look. So that's benefit number one. Benefit number two is we'll call it self-cleaning characteristics or ease of maintenance. Because stuff doesn't stick to the ceramic coatings so easily, your car cleans up much, much easier. And the same thing on paint or wheels. Best way to really introduce people to self-cleaning characteristics or ease of maintenance is when you put coating on their wheels. Somebody who does not have carbon ceramic brakes, you find out just how easy it is to clean up all of the brake dust that's on the wheels. So self-cleaning characteristics, long-term good looks. What it does not provide, people talking 5, 8, 10 years of protection, this chemical resistance, scratch resistance. It's so hard that nothing's going to happen to it. That couldn't be further from the truth. And some of your listeners are probably going to be a little bit upset when they hear me saying this because they may have bought into what people told them. But if you go and you talk to somebody about ceramic coatings and the first thing that they're talking about is how scratch resistant, how hard it is, and how it's going to last you 5, 8, 10 years, my advice, run away.
There you go. You heard it from the expert, everybody. Also, now, this is a big deal, Todd. Do you have to have paint protection film on the Corvette before doing the ceramic coating?
No, you do not. You can do either way or a combination of both. If you're going to do a mixture of paint protection film and ceramic coating, the paint protection film always goes down first, and then the ceramic coating goes on top of it. Or if you have no PPF on your car, ceramic coating is going to go on the paint, it can go on the plastics, it can go on wheels and brake calipers. There's a lot of different areas that it can go, but one is not dependent of the other. They can be used separately or they can be combined.
Good to know. Also, can ceramic coatings be applied over waxes?
Absolutely not. A part of the coating process is that decontamination and stripping everything from the surface. If you have any kind of remnants of wax or sealant or quick detailers or whatever on that surface, it's going to prevent the coating from getting a good bond. So chances are what would happen if you didn't prep it properly first, your coating is not going to last nearly as long as its potential.
Interesting. I did not know that. I'm glad that we talked about that because there's a lot of people that have said, can I put it over waxes? And if you can't, now you know, again, from the expert. Todd, also talk about what else you can put ceramic coating on. You alluded to it, but what about interior, glass, windshields and back windshields? Can you use ceramic coating on that?
Yeah, there are different formulations depending on the substrate that it's going onto. So let's say glass, for instance. There are glass-specific coatings. It's a different kind of chemistry and formulation. They're not going to be as durable as the regular stuff on the paint, particularly on the windshield, because you got the abrasion of the wipers, but it makes a big, big difference. It's for outside glass, not inside. And really, you're going to get the most bang for your buck on the windshield. Your back windows and stuff, it's not going to make as much of a difference. There are coatings for leather surfaces.
Oh.
Yep. Once again, it's there to help the cleanup be much, much easier on it. Stuff isn't going to stick to it. You're not going to get as much blue jean transfer and things on the leather. You have got your regular paint coatings. You can use that on all of your glossy carbon fiber. So you got carbon fiber trim on the inside, carbon fiber on the outside. You can put those coatings everywhere. Wheels, they have a separate formula. It's a high temp formulation for the wheels and the brake calipers. We always do, if we're doing wheels, and if it's a painted caliper, we're always doing those. And then you also have formulations for plastic. So you got cars that have plastic trim or the cowling up the windshield wipers or what have you, formulations that will go on that. You can even take on the plastic coatings, you can take an older car that the exterior plastic trim is kind of faded out and it's almost gray.
Yeah.
That coating will turn it back to black and it will stay looking that way for several years.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, when you were talking about ceramic coating on carbon fiber, you couldn't see me, but I did have my hand raised.
Well, I know that you've always been a big fan of carbon fiber, both inside and out of the car.
Absolutely. All right, now here's the $10 million question, buddy. What ceramic coatings are on the market and which ones do you recommend?
Well, unfortunately, there's a million different ceramic coatings on the market. Steve, if you wanted to, next week, you could have Steve's finest ceramic coatings. You go out, it's just a rebadged, rebottled, something else. There's only so many manufacturers of the product out there. I would say for us, there's 3 different coatings, kamikaze coatings that come out of Japan. We are the U.S. distributor and importer of that. We were the first worldwide distributor of the product once I found out how great they were about 7 or 8 years ago. We've got Geon Coatings. That is a Korean brand. Geon is a huge, huge global company. We were the original importers of it into the United States. Very, very happy. We've got a lot of new videos on some of their new stuff for 2022. And we've also been using Expel coatings designed to go on top of their paint protection film and paint and other formulations that we've been using and having good luck. Having said that, there's a lot of good brands and there's a lot of really bad or Me Too brands. Take a look at the kind of messaging that the companies are promoting their stuff. I said, if they're talking about super hardness levels, 5, 8, 10-year durability, scratch resistance, all these things, it's best just to walk away from that company. Go to the ones that really speak the truth about what coatings do, and you should be good to go.
Which leads me into my next question. How long does ceramic coating really last?
Another very, very good question and highly misrepresented thing in the industry. What I like to look at coatings is what I would call their effective life. How long are they working for you? How long are the looks holding up? How long are the self-cleaning characteristics? I don't care if in a lab setting you can detect the coating still physically on the surface, because we've already agreed that it's not providing you chemical resistance, scratch resistance, any of that other stuff. I don't care if it's not there. Once it loses its looks and once it loses its self-cleaning characteristics, it's ready to be done. How long is that? Typically 2 to 3 year range. On a daily driven car, we're speaking. A 2 to 3 year range, that stuff will start to drop off. And here's the other reality check on that too. Most cars, unless you're talking about a garage queen, within a couple years, it's going to get some scuffs and scrapes and bumps and bruises, and people walk by it, their gym bag rubs up against it, whatever else. So the coating may still be good after a couple of years, but it's ready for a refresh, polish out any kind of defects, and reapply. But yeah, somebody's talking that really long lifespan of the stuff. That's simply not the case.
I figured that was probably the way it would really, really go. Talk about how people can get a hold of you and reach you at Esoteric, and also talk about your social media outlets.
On social media, we're extremely active and have a strong following. One of the big ways is on YouTube, just looking up Esoteric Detail. We've got, over the years, we've produced close to 600 videos. A lot of that is going to be on how-tos, how to polish your paint, how to apply ceramic coating, how to clean your wheels, all these different educational topics. But we also do a lot of reviews / how-tos on the products, how to get the most out of them. So YouTube is a big way for people to connect with us and learn about us. On Instagram and Facebook at Esoteric Detail. We've got a couple of different accounts. Esoteric Detail is more of our services. Esoteric Car Care, Esoteric Products, that's all of our product sales division. And then our two main websites, esotericdetail.com is our main corporate website. EsotericCarCare.com is our product distribution website, and they both link to each other. Typically speaking, you search Esoteric and you're going to find us in one form or another.
That's awesome, buddy. Thank you so much, Todd, for being back on Corvette today. This is a real education. That was perfect. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always a joy to get on your show and to be able to connect with the Corvette world. The Corvette community has been very good to us over the years, and we're very active with them and with clubs and fundraisers and all that fun stuff. So anything that we can do to help educate people on how to keep their Corvettes looking best, we're all for it.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today, and please be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today podcast. And also thanks to our sponsors, Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. American Hydrocarbon at AmericanHydrocarbon.com. True Wealth and Company at RetireWithTrue.com. Also, Aerolari Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at Aerolari.com. Also, Nova Stretch Bras. Use the code Corvette Today 15 and get 15% off your total purchase at novastretch.com.
You've been listening to Corvette Today with Steve Garrett. If you'd like to contact Steve with any thoughts on the podcast or ideas for guests on Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. Or connect with Steve on social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using @SteveGarrettDJ. Thanks again for listening to Corvette Today.